Tonight we investigate what most argue is the most controversial measure on the November ballot, Proposition 3.
It's the so-called laptop law because under the Students Come First laws, every high schooler in the state will get one. Tonight, I take you inside a southern Idaho school that's leading the way in technology. Plus, you hear from both sides of Prop 3 in this On Your Side report.
Everybody take a look at Megan's artist.
A peek inside the freshman art class at Castleford High School, and you'll notice not just what's taught, but how.
So let me get the overhead going.
Not your standard projector, instead an Apple TV wired to communicate with iPads in front of every student.
This is one of my favorite artists.
This kind of technology is now the norm at this rural school outside of Twin Falls. At the beginning of the year, each of the 89 high schoolers got their own iPads.
We're amazed at how well it has worked, really, to be honest.
We have apps to make like presentations, slideshows, spreadsheets, and all that stuff. So anytime there's homework, you're always on there getting that kind of stuff.
I am a Syrian rebel.
Oh. Hank DeVries used his iPad to research a homecoming week historical figure.
I was searching it this morning actually because nobody knew what I was talking about, so I searched it.
Really?
Yeah, so helps me explain my costume.
The students loved the devices, but some teachers hesitated.
So technology is kind of tough for me. I'm one of these old guys, you know, I'm 65 years old and I'm learning how to use computers.
Parents had their own worries, especially because the iPads go home with the students.
We're trying to teach responsible use.
The school board decided the best way to do that, allow the students to make the iPads their own, from decorating covers to uploading their own games, music, and photos.
What do you have on there that's not school related?
Well, let's see. Facebook, I have, of course, duh. And then, you know, you have the little YouTube app, I have some games, and so that's nice.
Of course, it's just these kinds of issues that surround Proposition 3. Sure, mobile computers may work for 89 high schoolers, but what about for more than 89,000 statewide?
The biggest concern I hear from parents is that they're honestly worried about pornography and making sure that these laptops, these computing devices, are going to be safe. How can you ensure that?
Students do not own these devices. They do not decide what they're going to do with them. The school board sets those policies. So parents will be involved in setting the policy at the local district to decide how these devices will be used and if they ever leave campus.
The state says all the laptops will come with an audit trail to trace students' history on the device, something they say can't be hacked. Castleford uses every filter they can to protect students, but they also take a realistic approach.
Because no matter what kind of blocker we have or wall, kids and people find a way to get to sites that maybe they shouldn't, just as the old books that they could find, magazines.
Castleford paid for the iPads with a federal grant and levy funding. When the state recently signed a contract for computers with HP for 8 years, costing $180 million, many experienced sticker shock. That's because when Superintendent Luna first proposed the idea of laptops, he gave the legislature a price tag of 5 years, $70 million.
It wasn't necessarily a budget as much as it was a projection. For the first 5 years, there was always the understanding that this was something that would go on as an expense year after year after year.
This is putting us on a path that forces the legislature into making sure this is where money goes.
The funding for this is being provided by our willingness to transition from many of the learning tools we had in the 20th century and bring us into the 21st century. And that means we spend dollars we have differently.
Under the Students Come First laws, technology will eat up about 2% of the public schools budget. To put that in some perspective, transportation takes up 6%, and salaries and benefits, 61%.
Tom Luna's not telling the complete story. That money's not going to, float down from the heavens to us. It's going to come from other education spending.
And this debate is nowhere near over, especially tonight. So next on today's 6 on Your Side, we continue our report. Those against the laptop law make their case. We're continuing now our in-depth look into Proposition 3, requiring the state to buy laptops for every high schooler. And the Vote No campaign argues for local control.
Is the Vote No campaign against technology.
Is there anyone in America who's against technology? I mean, it's kind of silly, but it's a good question because, and Castleford's a great example of what we should be doing. They found a solution that works for them, okay? You know, that wasn't Tom Luna's plan that did that for them. That was a school district figuring it out at a local level.
Wouldn't having technology even the playing field for everybody if it were the same technology?
What we have is a state with wide disparities in opportunity among school districts. There are school districts that don't have enough computers. There are school districts that have plenty of computers that want to spend their money on other things.
We have the responsibility to provide a uniform system of public education. That's what our Constitution says. Uniform to me means equal access and opportunity for all. The proper implementation of technology makes that possible.
You take the screen, show us your artist.
A uniform system is now what's in place, at least at one Idaho high school, but that doesn't mean everything has worked perfectly.
We're still learning. I mean, you know, we started in the 1st of September, and I think no matter when you start anything, there's a learning curve and a period of time where you work some of those bumps out. But if you're afraid of those things, I guess you'd never start.
Daryl Edson is glad he gave technology a chance in his classroom.
I'm able to teach art history and get hands-on at the same time if I incorporate the technology. So I've become an advocate for technology instead of a little bit scared of it. So now I'm ready to try anything.
A computer convert in Castleford. But is this the right path for every high school in every school district? Your vote decides. There is a misconception when it comes to Prop 3. That's that these laptops are tied to online learning. Well, this 2 credits for online learning graduation requirement has already been enacted by the State Board of Education. Means it's a done deal. Online learning will not go away even if Prop 3 is repealed.